What's up, guys? Brian back to talk about The Walking Dead and will Rick Grimes die? Now, that's a topic that people talk about, but it recently got in the news by Robert Kirkman answering someone's question on there, and you get various articles all over the place, and you can see that. But he basically replied to say that Rick will eventually die, basically, because the guy said, will Rick die? He said eventually. And I don't know. I could see that happening, but I don't think it's anytime soon. In the comics and the show, he's still alive and there too. And Rick Grimes is The Walking Dead, and we're following him, and that's what makes the show so great, and what makes Fear the Walking Dead terrible, because there is no lead character like that too. That's one of the problems. But The Walking Dead, Rick Grimes, I can't picture the show, without Rick Grimes, and Andrew Lincoln does a great job with it on there too. There's some fun facts about that. Andrew Lincoln was not the first choice for Rick Grimes, but he got the part anyway. So to find that video, there's some things that might have changed the universe of The Walking Dead. But either way, Andrew Lincoln's the man, and I can't imagine the show without him. He is the man, and we are The Walking Dead. In the comics, he's still alive, and in the show, spoilers, sorry, spoilers ahead. But Rick Grimes is missing an arm, a hand, in like a forearm kind of hand thing in the comic. He loses it pretty early, but he definitely is different on the show versus the comic for reasons of making the show in green screen and repetitiveness and budget-wise and everything like that too. It'd be tough to do, losing a hand of your main character. But Rick's the man. I could see Rick dying at some point. Do you think it'll be in the comics or the show first? So what do you think would happen? Do you think the show will end and the comic is still being made? I don't know. What do you think? Post your comments below on there. I like to see what people are thinking. I don't know. I think the show will end and the comics will still be going strong. Robert Kirkman's got all these other projects going forward, but his bread and butter is The Walking Dead. I mean, come on. There's nothing about that. You can't replicate this at all. But Rick Grimes is a badass. He is the leader of the survivors. He's got to go against Negan and the Saviors into Season 7 going forward. And in the comic, they got a whole other threat of the Whispers and Negan still and everything there too. So they got a long way to go. And Rick Grimes, I don't see death coming to him for any time soon. But eventually, it could be on the show. I don't know. Think about it. What would you think? Do you think he would die on the show but still live in the comic? What do you think? Or he dies in the comic and then in the show it catches up? I don't know. It's just, they're not going to tell you anything. Robert Kirkman doesn't know. He plays it by ear. He wings it kind of thing like there too. He killed Abraham off pretty quickly in the comics, one episode and one comic episode or comic book. But so we'll see who the victim is in Lucille. I don't think it's going to be Rick Grimes. I can guarantee it's not going to be Rick Grimes in that. I mean, don't ever guarantee 100%, but he's not going to be the victim of Negan. It's going to be probably Glenn or Abraham. I don't know, or even Eugene, I think would be plausible in there too. But Rick's going to be safe for that going forward into Season 7, 8, and whatever. I don't know. How many seasons is The Walking Dead going to be on? We're going into Season 7. I mean, 10, 11, 12, I don't know. It's going to be crazy to think of The Walking Dead not being on TV at some point. Hopefully that's in 10 years it stops running on there too. So we'll see. But Robert Kirkman put it in the news that Rick Grimes will eventually die. So it's something to talk about. What do you think it is? Do you think he will die in the comic first or the show first or whatever, or either or the same time or whatever? And how do you think he's going to go out? Do you think he's going to go out saving the group, saving Carl, and then who becomes the leader? Who becomes the leader of the group after Rick goes away? Is it Carl because it's so much time lapse? Is it Michonne? Is it Daryl? Is it whatever, on there? I don't know. In the comics, it could be Andrea. Who knows? But I don't know. It's one of those things that we'll never know until it actually happens on the show and the comics, and Robert Kirkman's going to keep us guessing. And make sure you keep buying that comic book and keep watching the show and making that money for AMC and Image and The Walking Dead. So here's just to show you, if you put in Rick Grimes' death in the comic, it comes up with this arrow in his side or whatever. But to date, May 20th, 2016, he's still alive in the comics, still alive on the show, but I thought this is hilarious on there too. So the possible ending is that, did I dream it all, the whole thing? This isn't real? You were talking about in your sleep, all this zombies, it was crazy. And then Lori goes, Rick, who is Andrea? It's kind of funny because in the comics, Andrea's still alive. But how do you think it'll end? Post your comments below. Hopefully it doesn't end for a very long time. The show, the comics keep rolling. We keep loving it. So like, share, subscribe, post your comments below. Like I said, thanks for the continued support. And Rick Grimes lives, hopefully.